Hey, remember that time we gathered up here every week on Sundays and Wednesdays and had youth group? Yeah, that was just so recent, and yet it seems like such a long time ago. Because here we are, or here I am, all by myself up here in the youth room, and you're probably at home. And we're all in this really strange time of taking super precautions to keep ourselves safe and those we love, but also we're distancing ourselves and trying to find ways to stay connected. So here's my attempt at one way to stay connected with you. If we were together, this is a text I would want to read. It's John 9, just the first few verses. It says, "As Jesus walked along, he saw a man who was blind from birth. Jesus' disciples asked, 'Rabbi, who sinned so that he was born blind, this man or his parents?' Jesus answered, 'Neither he nor his parents. This happened so that God's mighty works might be displayed in him.'" Typical Jesus answer. He's posed with a tough question. He's given two adequate options, though both could have been a trap, option A or option B. Jesus chooses option C, as in, I see what you're doing and watch me as I find a different way out of this. One that doesn't go into typical answers of A or B, but looks for something else at work below the surface. Jesus is saying, of course it wasn't the man or his parents who sinned, which, time out, we would never think that either. But back then that was very common. But instead of going with that common understanding and maybe playing into division and debate, Jesus chooses a third way. Jesus says, this was done so that God might do something greater through the works of this person. God might be glorified in some way through this person's life. So, here's my thought. During this time where we are all just find ourselves with a new normal, we are separated, we are at a distance, and it's easy and tempting just to ask questions that would lead to division and debate. Like, whose fault is this? Couldn't people be doing different things so that we could have better lives? Couldn't this have been prevented in some way? What if this was all some plot from around the world? Well, instead of answering those questions in those, or that question in those ways, how about we do something else? Something that Jesus might have be wanting us to do. And that is to think, how can the work of God be done through us, even in such a time as this? Take a look. These are some of our physical church building neighbors downtown. Of course, we don't see any people, we just see buildings. But where are you right now? Who are your neighbors? Have you seen them in a while? Well, this could be one of those times where you take some moments in your day and you use precaution and safety, of course, but you go visit some of your neighbors. You knock on the door, you make some calls, you see if they need any food, any help out in the yard, and you help do something inspired by the love of God through your own self, even as you are dislocated in this new situation and time. That's one thing you could do. That's one thing I could do. Just the other day, my son invited our neighbor to a birthday party for herself. He said, "We're throwing you a dinner party on your birthday." She said, "Great, my birthday's in June." And my son said, "Okay, we'll have you over." That just came to his mind creatively through God. So what could God be telling you to do? What's a new prompt? What's something you can do in these new uncertain days where the glory of God could be shown through your life? There's something. So think on it, and let's talk more later. Until then, well, peace of Christ be with you.